child revolution, where healing and consciousness spark transformation, helping you to reclaim your power and create the life you were meant to live.
Welcome back to the Inner Child Revolution. I'm your host, Nico and Jean. Today, we're going to talk about the word you won't let yourself say and what it's costing you. I want to start this episode with a loving truth bomb, and I want you to stay with me through it because what's on the other side is your freedom. Here it is. You are avoiding naming something in your life, some pattern, some dynamic, some person. And you're avoiding it because the word feels too big, too harsh, and too final. Maybe the word is narcissist. Maybe it's abusive. Maybe it's toxic. But whatever the word is, you keep flinching away from it. Listen, I get it. I really do. Nobody wants to slap a label on someone they love, or they used to love, or someone who raised them. And our culture has made these words feel like accusations and like you're being dramatic if you use them or you're overreacting. So here's what I want to offer you. You don't actually have to decide if the person meets the clinical criteria for anything. That's not your job. You're not a diagnostician. What you get to do is look at its impact. Toxic. That word literally means life destroying. Anything that isn't life-giving is life-destroying. That's the definition. So if you're around a dynamic that was destroying your aliveness, your voice, your sense of self, that was toxic. Full stop. You don't have to argue with anyone about the label. And here's the other thing. If the person in your history was extremely emotionally immature, maybe not clinically a narcissist, but just deeply immature, the impact on you as a child was the same. The pattern you're carrying in your body is the same. The boundaries you need are the same. And the inner child work is the same. So please, please stop getting hung up on whether the word applies. Because I promise you, the refusal to name what you actually live through is costing you far more than the discomfort of naming it ever would. I want to be tender with this for just a second because your resistance to naming it makes complete sense. The child in you was trained to protect that system, not because she wanted to, but because she had to. Speaking the truth about what was happening in the home, even to yourself, was dangerous. Loyalty was survival. And if the child had to let herself see it clearly or name it clearly, she would have nowhere to go with that truth. So he or she buried it, made excuses, kept the peace, protected the image of the family and the image of the parent because that was the only way to stay connected to the people she needed to survive. Fast forward. You're an adult now, and every time you get close to naming what actually happened, that same child rises up inside you and pulls back, softens the language, adds the caveat, well, they did their best, well, they had a hard childhood too, well, it wasn't all bad. All of those things might be true. And also, this is softening the pattern. And also, the softening is the pattern. The softening is the child still protecting the system and still keeping the original agreement. Every child in a toxic system makes an agreement. The agreement is usually something like this. I will stay small. I will not outshine anyone. I will not name what I see. I will not become bigger than the people who raised me. I will not have more or shine brighter or take up more space or live more freely because if I do, I will lose the connection. I'll be cast out. I will not be safe. That agreement is not conscious. They didn't just sit down and negotiate it. The nervous system made it for them because the nervous system was trying to keep them alive. And here's what I need you to really understand. That agreement is still in effect until you name it, until the inner adult brings it into the light. That agreement is running your life. It's running your business. It's running your finances. It's running your visibility. It is the invisible ceiling that keeps you bumping up against, and you can't understand why. Now, let's talk about manifesting, because I know a lot of you are actively working on manifesting things right now: more clients, more money, more visibility, more impact. But here's what most people don't tell you about manifesting: you are not manifesting from your goals, you are not manifesting from your affirmations. You're not manifesting from your vision board. You're manifesting from your identity. And that identity was formed in that family system. That identity got its assignment when you were very small, and the assignment was to stay small enough that the system stayed stable. Okay, so let's say you want more financial success in your business. Beautiful goal. But if achieving that goal would mean you'd be earning more than your parent ever earned, or more than anyone in your family earns, that's an identity problem. Because the identity's core assignment was not to outshine and not to exceed, not to become bigger than the system. If you break through that ceiling, the child inside you experiences it as a threat to survival. Even if consciously you know you're safe, the identity doesn't know that. So what happens? You self-sabotage, you underprice, you launch and pull back, you get close to the number, and then something falls apart. You attract the client who doesn't pay. You take on the project that drains you. It looks like bad luck. It looks like the market. It looks like a mindset problem. It isn't. It's the identity. The identity is doing exactly what it was built to do: keep you inside the family's tolerable range. Consciousness creates reality. Whatever the identity believes, reality reflects. And the identity believes it isn't safe to outshine. So reality is going to keep confirming that. Here's the part I really need you to hear: the identity cannot shift while the original agreement is still unspoken. You cannot reparent a pattern that you're still refusing to name. You cannot become a new identity while you're still protecting the old system. Let's get specific about what this is costing you. The ceiling on your income is the family ceiling, and the volume of your voice is the family volume. The visibility you allow yourself is the visibility the system tolerated. The way you talk about your work in public has all the edges filed off because the child learned that the sharp edges got her in trouble. You are living inside a container that was built for a small child in a home that no longer exists. And you keep trying to grow a business that requires expansion, aliveness, and visibility inside that container. And then you wonder why you're exhausted, why nothing is landing, and why the growth won't come. The container has to go. And the first move, the very first move, is naming what built it. This is where the inner adult steps in. And the inner adult has one job in this piece of work. She has to say the words the child was never allowed to say. That was toxic. That wasn't love. That was a system built to make you small. The people in it were doing their own patterns, and those patterns hurt you. That isn't cruelty, and it's not blame, it's clarity. And clarity is the first act of love the inner adult can offer the inner child. The child needed someone to name it back then, but nobody did. So she made the agreement to protect the system because that was the only option available. You get to be the one who finally names it now. You get to be the one that tells him. You don't have to protect them anymore. You don't have to stay small anymore. The agreement is over and I'm releasing you from it. That's the moment the identity starts to shift, not before. That is the moment. Now, let's bring this into your work. If you're a coach, healer, a transformation worker, your business is a mirror of the identity. Everything about it: the prices, the visibility, the offers, the way you show up, the people who arrive at the door. All of it reflects who your subconscious believes you're allowed to be. Look at your pricing. Really look at it. Is that a number that reflects the value of your work? Or is that a number that keeps you comfortably below the family ceiling? Look at your visibility. Are you actually being seen, or are you being seen just enough to feel like you're trying, but not so much you'd outshine anyone from your original system. Look at how much you talk about your expertise. Are you owning it, or are you softening it, hedging it, making sure nobody could accuse you of thinking too highly of yourself? Look at who's arriving as your clients, because the identity attracts who matches it. If the identity was built to stay small, the clients who show up will be the clients who reinforce that. None of this shifts with a new sales script or a better marketing funnel or by working harder. It shifts when you finally sit down with the child inside you and you name what she was never allowed to name. And when the inner adult releases her from the agreement she made to survive. That is the work. If this episode is landing for you, I want to invite you to my free masterclass, the 4-step method to break toxic cycles and become the coach you're meant to be. The link is in the show notes, and it walks you through how the inner child is running your business and how reparenting starts shifting those patterns from the inside out. And if you want to start doing this work today, my book, Healing the Inner Child with EFT Tapping, is also linked in the show notes. EFT is one of the most powerful ways I know to start releasing those old agreements at the somatic level. The word you won't say has been running your life, and the moment you let yourself say it quietly, honestly, and just to yourself is the moment the agreement starts to loosen. The child gets to be free, the identity gets to shift, and your reality gets to reflect something new. This is the Inner Child Revolution, and I'll see you next time.